right, the Fuso starting grid. For the final time this season, Garth Tander locks it out on position 1 for Holden. He'll have Will Davison next to him, so Ford v Holden on the front row of the grid. Then it's James Courtney and Jono Webb, positions 3 and 4. There's Lowndes, yesterday's winner. Mark Winterbottom, also a former winner on this street circuit. Positions 7 and 8 go to James Moffat from Team Norton, who's had a good weekend. And Tim Slade, the pole sitter of our first race of the Sydney Telstra 500 this year. Fabian Coulthard and Steve Owen round out the top 10. Michael Caruso, well, he was one of the victims yesterday. That heat went straight through his boot and burnt the bottom of his foot. He's not alone in terms of blisters and dramas from the heat yesterday. Davey Reynolds and Shane Van Gisbergen, so the Giz Fairwelling V8 Supercars. Lee Holdsworth and Greg Murphy. Murph will step away from Kelly Racing. We know that Rick Kelly and his brother Todd will be driving in the Nissans next year, so all sorts of changes up and down pit lane, as you'd expect, even more so with the car of the future coming our way. There's our champion-elect, Jamie Whincup, starting from position 24. Tim Blanchard and Carl Reindler. And then we've got Russell Ingall and Scott McLaughlin. Just a couple of hours ago, he was celebrating victory in the Dunlop Series, winning the championship this year. He gets the news after getting the trophy that he's going to step in for Alex Premer in the GRM car number 33. So what a day for the youngster. And let's see what Jamie Whincup can do to finish off this spectacular season that has netted 12 race wins, 7 pole positions, and his 4th V8 Supercar crown.
On board now with Greg Murphy. We've got so many in-car cameras covering this field. And it will be fantastic for Scott McLaughlin to follow Russell Ingall out of pit lane. And they're only 2 cars back from Jamie Whincup, so they'll see Whincup blazing through the field. Dave Reynolds, who didn't qualify as well as he would have liked, on board with him. Jono Webb.
So this current version of Ford versus Holden in the Australian Touring Car Championship, or V8 Supercars, has run the course of 20 years. This will be the 800th race in the Australian Touring Car Championship since our very first race back in 1960. And in the last 20 years, Crompo, the scoreboard reads Holden versus Ford. Yesterday, Holden collected win number 350, Ford 217.
September 1992, Sandown it was. There were 2 cars that were run by Glenn Seaton under the Peter Jackson Racing banner and 2 cars from the Holden Racing team, and they formed the basis of this modern era. Name change in 1997 to V8 Supercar. It's been a great success story. We've had a great run with these cars. They've proven to be very fast, reliable and entertaining, and in fact more and more of the motorsport world has adopted much of what we've had in this country for the last 2 decades.
So the rear of the grid settles in to position. There's Lowndes and Winterbottom side by side, fighting for second in the championship. That'll get Willing. There's the Porsche medical car that's featured this week. Looks much better than it did this time yesterday.
5 seconds.
So the end of an era. Blue versus red, Ford versus Holden. That's how they'll start the final race here at Sydney Olympic Park, and Will Davison is going to put the pressure on our pole sitter Garth Tander. They're both on firing down to turn 1. Tander will have the inside line, and look at James Moffat. He's done a Jamie Whincup, but he didn't get away with it, and Mark Winterbottom goes into the wall.
So Moffat was the one that glanced the side of Frosty.
Yep,
looking for reverse. Struggling to grab it now, he's got it. Ingall and McLaughlin go through. Back to the lead of the race, it's Tander from Davison. And you can see that Tim Edwards is not happy about that one. No surprise there. So Courtney third, then Lowndes, a bit of a gap.
They were lucky to get away with it yesterday. Tander bumps the fence on the way to the bus stop. A lot of pressure on there with Davison. That was championship changing stuff for second and third based on what happened with Mark Winterbottom and James Moffat. And as I said yesterday, Whincup was across the inside of everybody, 5 abreast, and didn't get away with it today. Moffat caused that one, only just got it stopped at the front of the field. Dave Reynolds down the inside of Coulthard.
He'll have a dive, but he's going to have to lock it up to do so, and he'll go wide.
So seriously close. He would have had to carry the brake all the way virtually to the wall, and Coulthard's up the inside of him here. He'll have a look. The gap's open. and he sticks the Lockwood car down the inside, gets it done at turn 11. Nice move. The Tander was very lucky to stop that car in turn 9. He had it chirping on the rear brake on the way in there, so it's Tander that leads by 0.3 of a second at the end of lap 1. Great shot of the cars doing 250 kilometres an hour on the run west to turn 1, and everybody will also be looking at that sky.
Van Gisbergen, he had an off, or has he had more problems? Yeah, he can't get this thing going.
He needs to stay away from that Porsche. Those two, we just need, look, stay away from each other. Here comes Davison, battle on for the lead here. Is this a lead change? He looks well positioned. Got him.
At turn 5.
And hangs on to him. Sprint car action through 5. Both of them sliding.
Safety car boards and flags. Safety car stops on track last sector. Great job, buddy. Awesome work.
Brad McPherson on the radio, and that was a great job. An opportunistic pass, and how's this? 2 days in a row. Very bad luck for Shane Van Gisbergen, Larko.
Yeah, it would appear that he's lost his clutch. Obviously happened off the start line, so he's clearly got no drive. That's why he's parked right there. No clutch. Bit unusual.
It was broken steering on lap 1 yesterday for Shane Van Gisbergen, so today no clutch. This is a ripping start, especially from the guys on the front row. I mean, they just went off in the distance really quickly. Nobody could go with them.
Have a look down here.
Watch
bottom of the screen. There you go.
And there goes Frosty.
Not much you could do about that. The spinner was another Fujitsu car, wasn't it? Was that Caruso?
That was Caruso.
Yeah.
So, first safety car of the day. Won't be the last, that's for sure. We'll take a break, bring you back to Sydney Olympic Park, the Telstra 500.
I got you there, Frosty, mate. Straight in the box there, straight in the box. It's going to be a pretty quick stop, obviously. We'll just have a quick look for damage and look at your mirrors and what have you. Yeah, that's happy. Leave it happy days. Check his mirrors. Go, 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 go.
Hang around too long. I'm not sure that it's just Van Gisbergen's car broken down, so I'm not sure how long it'll take to clear.
Oh, mate, what an idiot. Oh, Sandy, come on. He was never going to make the corner. I saw him coming, so I give him room and he just fucking rolled.
Pretty fast. Experience in the past.
You lift your speed to 80, safety car, 80 is clear, is good, over. The incident is now clear of the circuit, you'll see it in front of you.
Obviously burned it out at the start or had some other failure not related to the
V8 Supercars live on 7 here at Sydney Olympic Park, looking through the Commonwealth Bank building as they continue under the safety car. This will be a side mirror going. That was on lap 1 when Garth Tander was really pushing to try and hold off Will Davison. It turns out to be a critical move for Will. Just got in front of Garth as the safety car was called. Now this is on board with Mark Winterbottom. He knew that James Moffat was coming. He said to his team, He's just gone through pit lane, by the way, Mark Winterbottom. He said to his team, I knew he was coming. I tried to give him space, and he still collected me.
Yeah, Matty, just with Tim Edwards. Tim, that is hugely frustrating what we just saw.
Oh, I mean, it's bloody disappointing. I mean, the bloke's incompetent. I mean, I used to think Moff was brave, but he's just bloody stupid. You know, he's demonstrated it so many times this year, and yet again, he's spoiled our race.
Good luck for the rest of the day.
Thanks, mate.
Well, it sent Frosty down 20 positions, and now he's at the rear of the field after deciding to take the pit stop straight away.
So he lost 20 positions in that, Matt. And, I mean, Neil and I were just talking about it in the break. The interesting thing with that is that James was very deep at the first corner, and he got up the inside, but he was always going to run a little bit wide, and Mark Winterbottom was the guy who was the, I suppose, the real loser in this. So Moffat goes to the left. That's Lowndes. Down the inside of Lowndes he goes. Now down the inside of Winterbottom also. Gets it turned in and bang. And that's the unfortunate position for Mark Winterbottom to be in. No road left and in the fence. A lot of damage to the front of Jamie Whincup's car. We didn't pick that up before. Pretty torrid down there. It's not an area of the field that Jamie's used to starting in. And look at the front damage on it. You can see it right up in the back of the field there behind the Jim Beam Falcon.
And all those taking the opportunity to bring their cars in and stick fuel them at the moment. Let's have a look and see what happens here. We've got Jason Bright all locked up down the inside, and that's a rub with Tim Slade, more than a rub. Big push, and Tim's gathered it back up and battling there with Fabian. And there's the Gizzy off to the side as well with that clutch drama. So we go racing once more. Will Davison is your leader. Opportunistic move at turn 5 just before the safety car boards were deployed. Great restart for Will as well. He's jumped away from Tandon nicely. 3/4 of a second officially at the control line on the computer. That is a great shot.
Look out for James Courtney. He's breathing down the neck of his teammate, Garth Tander. He was doing so just before that safety car. But a fantastic restart from Will Davison. There's Moffat. There's Lee Holdsworth. Tony D'Alberto's also got some damage caused down there at the bus stop.
He caught Garth out. He stepped on the throttle pedal at the perfect time to suit the restart for Will. And Garth wasn't able to go with him. So this is this great run. This is the passing area that Davison got it done before the safety car on Garth Tander, and down into the bus stop that they ride these curbs so savagely.
And I suspect that Garth got a tardy exit off turn 4, maybe a bit too much wheel spin, got it sideways, and that was the incentive that Will needed to pull that move at 5, because you can't do it in 5 alone. It's going to be the exit speed of the car at the previous corner that does it.
This is Dawn Fraser Avenue. Through this roller coaster we keep making reference to, it's got all these different patches of surface. The rise and fall of the braking area makes it very hard to modulate the braking efficiently. And then down past the train station to the final 3 corners, quite a bumpy braking area there also. Different surface again in this section. This is a newer surface in the last 3 corners.
Black flag car 18, well there you go, Moffat's come in to serve it straight away.
That's the right thing to do, because if you got the penalty, just live with it. Ian Walburn would have been on the radio.
Davison's done the fastest lap of the race.
See what happens.
They'll contest that they were down the inside. Problem was he was going very, very fast, and probably the fact that Winterbottom was there helped stop him from having an accident.
Remember, Whincup did exactly the same thing yesterday. In fact, Jamie managed to go even further left. He went over the curb, therefore had a little bit more room and got away with it.
That area into turn 9 that we were talking about before, Mark, is fantastic because of the huge dip in the road and the way the cars unload under brakes out the other side, and then the patchwork quilt means that you can't just do what you normally do at any of these corners where you really build massive amount of brake pressure. If you fly down there and jump on the brakes as you normally do and basically use all the force you've got in your right leg, or left for a couple of the drivers, you will fly off the road. So it takes real touch to get the car in there nicely. We're going to see it now. So they're heading essentially north. We're looking at Jason Bright and David Reynolds, and they're riding the brake pedal, and there's all the colour changes past the Novotel of the road. They get it pulled up back to second gear and round that corner. It is a terrific spot. I went up there during the development series race just to watch the young guys having a go, and it was makes the hair stand up. It's fantastic.
It is a great racetrack, and it's got so much character, so much of the camber change and all the normal street race Variables and Moffat in the fence. Oh, Mike Murphy in the fence. Sorry, that is on the way around the back of the train station area. That's out of turn 10.
He's hit
Car
really hard.
behind, now you're clear.
Okay, so he's just asking for the go-ahead. There's Michael Patrizzi as well.
Just take it nice and easy, nice and easy.
Got to punch it right front.
This will be a safety car, I suspect.
Tell you what, some of these guys,
So Murph's bailed out.
From a season that he will just...
And that's also the end of an era as well. His future is uncertain, but this will explain what happened. So Patrizzi and then Murphy.
Well, he's just fired Murphy in the fence. He was sideways coming out of turn 10 and ended up having no road. So as he come out of there sideways, Murphy had nowhere to go. Fired into the side of Greg, and Greg in the fence, over and out.
Safety car periods, 9-4, failure to finish at 4 for the average safety cars. We didn't check. Look at that, he's saying, he can run me over. No. You wonder if he's waiting for a certain person to come around. No, I don't think he's going to turn up. No, he won't turn up. He was left to screen. Someone take a camera around with him because he's going to go on his environment.
We've got a car in the fast lane. Okay, you're clear to go. As soon as you hit the ground, we'll be going. Go.
We're back still under safety car, so we'll take a look at this extreme slow-mo vision of this youngster, Scott McLaughlin, piloting car number 33 today. A late call-up after winning the Dunlop Series and filling in for Alex Premer.
And all these guys that are sticking fuel in early in the race, if we do look at this little Kiwi gathering here of Murphy and Van Gisbergen, talking about good quality real estate in Auckland or something. But all the guys, Dave Stewart, frustrating for him so far this weekend, but he's seen it all before. He'll regroup, come back again strong next year. We're looking forward to seeing those AMG Benzes having a run. I was going to make the point that all those guys that are sticking fuel in now, there's been 4 or 5 of them, they'll be in good shape if it does rain a bit later on, because they'll stand still for less time. Take a quick break, back in a tick.
yeah, I felt really bad, so that's why I came here like 15 laps to the end, and yeah, I felt really bad. Yesterday I get driven by 4 liters instead of 9, and this morning as well by 4, so it's like 8 liters, so quite a lot, and even now I'm still a bit exhausted from the race from yesterday.
Obviously, safety is always first, regardless of what happens out on track.
Will Davison started this race from second on the grid alongside Garth Tander. He got the lead just before the first safety car. And now the second safety car is about to peel off, and we should be ready for a restart very soon. He's going to do another lap here. It's going to have to go and do another lap. So Greg Murphy's car has been retrieved, thrown on the back of the truck, and they're headed towards the garage. So that's the end of car number 51. And for Murph, we already saw the Kiwi convention heading back to pit lane. Murph and Shane Van Gisbergen. So we've got Shane Van Gisbergen, Greg Murphy, Michael Patrizzi as the victim so far today.
So all these laps where they're cruising in behind the Peters SDP safety car means that they get a bit of fuel range back. We've had, what, 6 laps of it so far, so it's been pretty amazing. So they're going to get about 3.5 laps in the bank as a credit that they can carry forward if they want to, and that stretches that window that Mark Larkin was talking about early when he was going crazy on the whiteboard.
Gives you a great view of the back end of the circuit, or the back side of the circuit if you like, the western side. So that's turns 2, 3 and 4. Olympic Boulevard running down there, All Phones Arena on their left hand side, and then they swing around through 5, 6 and 7, the bus stop, and the imposing figure of ANZ Stadium now on their left.
It's a magnificent complex, isn't it? And getting to it so easy. And some of those chopper shots that we've seen this weekend just give you a great understanding of where it sits in Sydney to the west of the Sydney CBD and the Sydney Harbour area. Pretty much right in the geographical heart.
Safety car lights out, accelerate away from the field, car 6 to maintain speed, 6 to maintain speed.
Former Formula 1 and sports car driver Tim Schenken, our race director.
So remember last time Will Davison got the jump beautifully on Garth Tander. You have to think with all of Garth's experience and nous that he's not going to let it happen twice. For old Jamie Whincup's championship winning car, Kate, looks a bit second hand. I don't know if he'll be forking out 600 grand for Roland for that, would he?
Kate needs a little facelift at the moment.
Might be able to get a discount if you did an as-is deal.
Discount, still a discount of Roland. Is there such a thing?
Tander, much better.
Here's Will, looking out the back towards Tander. This time around, Garth doesn't let him get so far away. So we'll count them through. Davison, Tander, Courtney Lowndes, that's your top 4. Then John O'Webb. He's still got a good start though, car 6. Through turn 1. There's Webb, the white car. Reynolds is behind him. Then Fabian Coulthard, Tim Slade, Jason Bright and Steve Owen make up our top 10. James Moffat at the rear of the field.
And because he serves that drive-through penalty as a result of what happened with Mark Winterbottom at turn 1, he doesn't get the benefit when you're serving a penalty to stick fuel in as some of the others have done. There's Dean Fiore for Jim Beam Racing in as well.
It's the second time he's been through pit lane. He's got some panel damage alongside that car.
Well, he had some damage to a tyre there, the reason he came in. These are good opening laps that Will Davison's stringing together here. He's getting on it quickly and he just gets a little breather going while the tyres have cooled out slightly. Courtney looks racy as well today. Remember, he got on the podium yesterday. He starved of fuel at the end, but it was a welcome return to form for him.
And Dave Reynolds up to 6th. he's gained 9 positions, so he's done a very good job. Black flag car 33. That was the little wheel spin in the pit stop that we saw. Which is a pretty cruel penalty in the first go in the main game. And for those that saw as Russell Ingall now continues to move forward, he's gained 7 positions. I was just about to say, starting from pit lane, he's up 7 spots. McLaughlin was right there with him, but he made another stop in the safety car period. So not really a fair assessment of how Scott has moved forward alongside Russell.
That's a ripper shot too. Some electing to just hold 5th, some grabbing 6th down there. It's about 250 odd Ks. Carl Reindler, who was just being passed by Russell Ingall there, by the way, we saw all that smoke earlier in qualifying. They did an engine change in that car. Said it was making some pretty ugly sounds when it went off this morning. And here's the problem for Scott. These are all the things he's got to learn to manage. Wheel spin in the stop. We've talked about it infinitely through the course of the championship season. It's cost a couple of the contenders, and it's now cost this young guy.
It's good too that we've got the onboard camera. This happens to be parked in car 33, so we can watch Scott at work behind the wheel. Geez, you'll remember these couple of weeks, won't he? 2 championships to drive in the main game. Wow.
Guys, back exactly where we don't want to be with Greg Murphy down here in the transporter area. Car behind us had a rough time, Murph.
I don't know what happened. Got a sore head though, but anyway.
So 1 minute everything's going fine. You think you've made the corner, and bang, next thing you're in the wall.
Yeah, Michael made a move on Lee, but he didn't get quite down far enough, and then at turn 10, he's propped in the middle of the corner to try and get back in because he knew obviously he was on the wrong spot, and because of that I've touched him on the back corner somewhere, and then I thought, oh well, we're off we go, and we carried on and going down the straight. Next minute I turn hard left on the fence, so I don't know what happened. I haven't seen a replay, so.
Murph, not the way I'm sure you'd like to end things up. This won't be your last race, will it?
I don't know what's going to happen, mate. At least, there'll be enduros and bits and pieces of nothing else. But you have to wait and see what happens. Still a few things up in the air, I think, in a few teams. So we'll wait and see what happens. But yeah, it's been a miserable 2012, and I'd like to apologise for our friends at Pepsi who've been so fantastic, and all the other sponsors as well, because it hasn't been a good year.
Murph, have a good break. Hope to see you next year.
Cheers.
Yeah, let's hope so. He's been part of this landscape since debuting in 1997 at Calder. He's done almost 200 championship rounds, over 430 races. He's done the lot, Murph. So if not full-time next year, surely, absolutely at the Enduros.
Scott McLaughlin, he just served that drive-through penalty, so they were managing him on the radio to make sure that he didn't have too much throttle percentage in and that he kept his speed regulated. He doesn't need another one.
Speaking of speed, the man that just went into shot that we've highlighted a couple of times already, car 22. James Courtney is en route to setting the fastest lap of the race so far. He's a whisker away from his teammate. And he's just got that attitude about him where he looks as though he could probably have a crack at the race leader if he can get past his stablemate at HRT, Tander. Meanwhile, Mark Winterbottom continues to try and push his way back up through the field. He's 17th.
He's making good progress, and he's lurking behind Tony D'Alberto at the moment, and Russell Ingall is as well. So Winterbottom 17th, Ingall 19th, considering how far back in the pack they were. It's not a bad run.
Wincup's complaining about oversteer, meaning the rear of the car not enough grip, and Mark Dutton's saying to him on the radio, we're quite aggressive with the setup of the car. It'll come good as the runs go on. So it's going to live through these segments of the races when the balance of the car's not quite good enough. You see Greg Murphy with a little door kick. A little bit of attitude from Murphy.
The Minister for Positivity there, Greg Murphy.
Welcome back to Intolerance Weekly.
On you, Murphy. He's a character, isn't he? Probably hard to do much more damage to that door anyway.
He said he had a sore head after hitting the wall. He's probably got a sore foot now. Okay, Whincup on the inside of Taz Douglas. Nice. I'm surprised that Jamie's not complaining about the aero performance. Well, this is a big one. David Wall and James Moffat.
Turn 9. You're lucky.
Got Russell Ingall, mate.
We heard the tyre squeal in the background there, wondered what it was. So David Wall, James Moffat getting together.
Hey, mate, just kept going around, thanks. Just let us know if you've got damage or if you need to come in, mate. Just let us as soon as you can.
A lot of damage on James' car. That's between turn 9 and 10.
Flat, guys. Left front tyre flat, so let's get it in, get 4 on it.
Ian Walburn. Scott Jennings there as well on his right, who is sitting at the desk. So they're going to have to put a new nose on that car, 4 new tyres, and then have a good look at any other corresponding damage, because they don't want...
You got front end damage? Do you have front end damage?
I'd say so. The answer to that would be yes.
So that's Russell Ingall involved in that. Oh, that's hit quite hard. That's why they're both significantly damaged. That's quite heavy contact. So Wall and Moffat, that's the front damage on the Norton Falcon. And as Neil said, there won't be just a set of fresh tyres for this one. You'll have to have a really good look underneath. I think they're going to put that into the garage and have a better look.
And in that Tander v Courtney battle, it's almost as though Garth hear what we were talking about, because Garth has now set the fastest lap of the race, responding to the challenge from his teammate. But Will Davison still leads the way here. He's got a 0.8 of a second lead. He's taking him out at the front as the damage continues to pile up on the streets of Sydney Olympic Park. Fastest lap of the race now belongs to our race leader, Will Davison, who's increased his lead over Garth Tander to 1.1 seconds. That's what's happening at the front of the field. Meanwhile, this battered and bruised car number 1 of our champion in waiting, Jamie Whincup, continues to make dives and make them stick. And he's doing it at the same spot, turn 9. So Whincup now 13th. He started 24th.
James Courtney, new fastest lap of the race, a 129.2.
Good driving, J-Dub. Another shot for BD.
And he's only 1.9 seconds away here at the moment, Courtney. So it's basically it's a toss of the coin at the moment between Davis and Tander and Courtney. They keep trading fastest laps, which is always a great sign of a good contest.
I've got a feeling that they're playing a bit of a game down at Team Vodafone, which I just touched in on Mark Dutton's comment to Jamie Whincup. I get the feeling that every time that Jamie passes somebody, Paul Dumbrell, who's down there in the garage, might have to take a little sip of something at the championship gala dinner tomorrow night.
Could be right.
That's what I'm picking up. So currently from 24th up to 13th, the drinks are starting to pile up. Might not be PD, could be anyone down there. You never know those guys. They've got a lot to celebrate tomorrow night, but we've still got more than 50 laps to go in this one as we ride with Mark Winterbottom. Now go back to Whincup, who gets another spot at exactly the same spot. This time it was Holdsworth, so he goes up to 12th.
All that damage you can see on the front of Jamie's car is really cosmetic. It's got no influence in terms of the cooling in front of the car. That all happens beneath that area. Look at this. Craig Lowndes, goodbye right-hand mirror. There he is in the background. Seen a few of those fly this weekend. Tanders went off very early in the race. James Courtney's still got his, so is Will Davison. Tander now, fastest lap of the race. So it goes to the comment that I made a little moment ago. So 29.18 now. They started with about 58 kilos of fuel. Represents about 75 litres. And fuel's burning down now. The car's balance changing. Track's rubbering in. They're finding a rhythm and they're finding pace, and the temperatures are working for them as well.
And what they've done, the first three cars, Davison, Tander, Courtney, for speed, they have definitely stretched out on Lowndes. Quite a big gap, 2.3 seconds adrift, Lowndes to Courtney. You can see that gap. So there's Davison, Tander, Courtney, Lowndes. Great run for Dave Reynolds, 10 positions further up the field. Webb, Coulthard, Slade, Bright, Owen, Johnson, and there's Whincup.
And I just heard Jamie Whincup talking with Mark Dutton. He reckons something's broken, but he said, I think we've just got to press on and see what happens. He thinks it might be an anti-roll bar or they've got a tyre issue. So we'll monitor that for you as well. Car number 1 at the moment is in 12th position, and there they are at Team Vodafone laying up just in case. So they've rolled back in now.
55 to go.
So it was a suspect tyre, and then Jamie went, it could also be a busted roll bar, which is very easy to be an issue here.
The wheel's straight, so normally with the steering arm or something weird, the steering will be off centre. When you do have a busted roll bar or anti-roll bar, then it won't affect the steering in terms of how that actually looks. It'll just be a physical problem with the car and the dynamics of the car. Stay with us from the streets of Sydney Olympic Park.
So a bit of a regulation scrum down for Team Vodafone just to plan out what's ahead of them. As we're on lap 21 now out of 74. Looking forward to the Jack Daniels entry. They are also, of course, farewelling a long-term relationship with Holden on the front there, top of the bonnet of car 15 and of car 7. It's a big thank you Holden sign from the Kelly Racing team.
Yeah, Matty, that little scrum you saw in Team Vodafone, that's obviously about, it's all about Jamie's damage. We'll try and have a look when they have their pit stop, see what it is. Spoke to Mark Dutton, his engineer. There's nothing on the data specifically saying that he may have a broken rear roll bar, and we know as drivers, sometimes you go a little bit of muck on the circuit. Someone might be dropping a little bit of fluid in, you can pick up a little bit of rubber, all those weird things happen. So we'll try and jump in and have a look when it, whatever, you get a spanner out and you're a choice up.
Yeah, and it doesn't take much to upset the feel in the car, as you know, Larko, especially on a place like this where pickup is prevalent or you do a little bit of damage. So they'll have a look at that in detail. Remember that Wincup's 12th at the moment. Oh, Taz Douglas, I-Select, Holden Commodore just running wide down there at turn 8.
I was on board with Michael Caruso. Russell Ingall's done a really good job, guys, up to 16th. So he's gained 11 positions.
It shows you the stress, wheel spin, sliding, load. What's all going on in the underbody of the car there. That was Jason Bright's Team BOC entry. And Bright at the moment is 9th.
Wincup's 12th. His next target is, as you can see, Stevie Johnson. Will Davison's just done another fastest lap time, 1:29 even.
Spoke to Stephen Johnson this morning to try and get to the bottom of what the drama was yesterday. Remember the Jim Beam car qualified very well. Whoops, another mirror gone. And initially thought it was an alternator, but they actually think it was a problem with the battery. They don't think it was correctly charged. But they changed everything last night electrically to make sure that they'd be okay today. But Steve couldn't believe his bad luck. You know, when you qualify third and track position so vital, to give it away early in the race as he did was an absolute disaster. That was Mark Dutton in the background speaking with Whincup. Looks like he's trucking along okay at the moment. 29 even, new fastest lap for Will Davison. So we've seen it seesaw between Courtney, Tander and Davison. They're getting close to the end now of this initial fuel load.
Last time around, Whincup telegraphed another move at turn 9. They're heading up towards turn 8 now. They turn left onto Dawn Fraser Avenue. This is when Jamie donated another mirror to the cause.
And we'll see Jason Bright coming in this lap. I suspect we'll start to see a few others. There it is, replay from outside. There's the margin first to second, and Courtney in from third position, ensuring that the two cars are on slightly separated strategies.
Neutral into the box.
Matt Crawford on the radio, engineering for him.
Whincup did get past Johnson again at turn 9 while that was happening. Extraordinary. So Courtney, Slade, Bright all in the lane. So 23 laps completed.
That was great stoppings on the mark, mate. Right on the mark. Great job.
These guys getting new tyres on, trying to do the undercut that Mark Larkham describes on the whiteboard. They haven't really gone out to the end of this fuel load, so they're hoping that the race will come to them more a little bit later in the day as they can play with their fuel efficiency and slide those windows and the range of the fuel tank along to suit the cause. But this could give them a little strategic gain in the case of Courtney, Slade and Bright.
Had nothing left yesterday. You got a pushback.
He did. Jamie Whincup actually shoved him across the line, and he was something like 8 to 9 seconds a lap slower in the last couple of laps of the race. So that was pretty gruesome, having to drive it that slowly. Rick Kelly is in car number 15.
Gee, look at Whincup then. He was battling to get stopped, and so is Winterbottom. That was close to contact with Rick Kelly. So close to these stops, you don't need to make contact. There's only a lap out.
So that's the voice of Campbell Little speaking to Mark Winterbottom. He's right in the middle of a pretty fierce battle at the moment, so Campbell's gone back and reiterated the point. There he is peeling off. That always feels good. So if you're Russell Ingall and the guy that you're aiming up on just gets out of your way, it's a nice feeling. And remember,
I got you there, Frosty. I got you. Just stop on the mark, mate. Stop on the mark. Stop on the marks. Just move that. Get to the movement diary.
Rusty started from pit lane. He'll have a little bit more fuel range.
A little bit short on those marks there.
You happy, Stevie?
Ben's steering arm in qualifying for this car, Tony D'Alberto. Had a fair pinch in it too, just from hitting the curbs.
Just got away. They're very hard to lead in first gear and drive them out of the box after the stop. Just got away then without bogging too much. We'll see what this does for his track position.
There's a couple coming past us now.
Very wide, very safe to spot on Australia Avenue. It's about 14 metres on the first part of the exit. It goes out to almost 17 metres that turn in.
And it's very easy to end up crossing that blend line down the end. So the drivers have got to make a deliberate move to the left when they initially leave the pit lane, making sure that they respect that yellow line. You'll see it when we see more of the stops a little bit further on. Then you can blend back to more of the natural racing line when you get down into the braking area at turn 1. They're going to have a quick repair of the bonnet on Wingcup's car when it comes in. Expect him in any tick of the clock. This is Coulthard. There's Jamie. So they'll have a look and see what the source of his concern is. They'll have a quick look at anti-roll bars. I don't think they'll do anything about it. They'll just confirm it for him so that it puts his mind at ease. Get another set of tyres on it, obviously. A little bit of panel beating at the front.
Okay, we've got a clear pit lane now. We've got a clear pit lane.
Chris Clark, team manager, Brad Jones Racing, and the Lockwood radio there.
He's not going to repair it, mate. Nice and steady for us. Perfect. Where seems to be the problem, mate? Here? Okay, sure. Bit more here, Gooey. Bit more here, mate. Just watch it, Briggsy. Briggsy, just get out of the way for me, please. Sorry, J-Dog. Nothing really concerns us here in pit lane at the moment, mate. You'll be good to go once you drop now. Good to go. All clear. Bye.
It's a bit of Neil panel work being done there. I think he put more dents.
Yeah,
he did.
Cold tyres.
So young Scott McLaughlin's in for a fair initiation now because he's in 20th position with Mark Winterbottom, who just came out of the pits behind him. So the next few laps, he will see one of the fastest guys in the field looming in his mirror. This is Garth Tander, who's currently still in second position and in the pit lane. Will Davison also in. So first and second, just see what happens with Lowndes and Lowndes. All three top cars and Dave Reynolds. So the first 4. So this is a critical stop now to see what happens with track position when they rejoin.
And a real test of the teams here and their pit crew efficiency. Ford Performance Racing versus the Holden Racing team versus Bottle Racing.
Go, 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 go. Away you go. Hey, mate, you got cold there, mate.
Will Davison has won 7 races this season. Garth Tander yet to win a race this season. That hasn't happened to him since 2004, and that's a big gap in car 6.
Lowndes has gained on Tander, and Davison has got away from Tander in those stops.
Which tells you that it was a tardy stop for car 2. So when you get crunched on both ends, someone stretches the gap on you in front and those behind you close in. Something might have gone wrong in that stop.
And remember, Lowndes got the penalty from yesterday's race for turning Garth Tander around up at this corner at the start of the event yesterday. 25 points, put him into 3rd position in the championship after winning the race yesterday.
And James Courtney is a winner out of all that. He's in front of them both. So good net gain for car 22 in that round of pit stops. A bad loss, if you like, against car 2's name. So Jonathan Webb is our on-the-road leader with just under 50 laps remaining in this one, 47 in fact. So we'll take a break and bring you back.
Okay, mate. Custom hanging behind us as well, mate. tyres are on, just waiting on fuel now, mate. Just waiting on fuel. Customers just left his bay. May have to merge with them. I'll let you know if you're right to go when you got, mate.
Am I racing anyone out here, or am I that far down?
Have it 3 laps off.
So we're keeping our eyes on the skies as we look back over the Harbour Bridge and this spectacular city backdrop, but there is still a bit of weather appearing on the radar. Check that in just a minute, but why don't we check out the highlights from the start of this race. So Garth Tander starts from pole position, has a good battle with Will Davison down at turn 1, but James Moffat was the troublemaker down there. He ran into Mark Winterbottom, so you can imagine the temperature level goes up a little bit on Tim Edwards. Just before the safety car was called, Will Davison got in front of Tander. That's the reason why the safety car was there. Shane Van Gisbergen's V8 supercar career for now has ended like that, and Greg Murphy's career with Kelly Racing and perhaps his full-time career ended that way as well. So both Kiwis went back, and that's a pretty good right boot from Murph. Scott McLaughlin filling in for Alex Premer. Got pinged for a pit lane infringement. And watch this. Moffat arriving on the scene after David Wall had some contact from behind by Russell Ingall. So let's just go back to this little battle here between Mark Winterbottom, second in the championship, and Jamie Whincup. So they are 14th and 15th on the road, and Winterbottom has got around him at the turn that Whincup has been doing all of his.
He tried to get around him, he didn't quite get it done, did he?
So he did a little bit further.
Now, James Courtney, as we look here at Tim Blanchard ripping the mirror off his car, remember that I said before that Courtney came in a little bit early. Here's the radar, by the way, and you can see at Katoomba and up in the Blue Mountains, there's a bit of weather. Typically sits up there in these sorts of conditions, so it's a little bit wild. Whether it gets to Sydney Olympic Park is another question at the moment, but it's definitely looking grey out there.
What direction is that coming from there?
From the west-southwest, thanks, Mark. Courtney got a benefit from the undercut, getting onto those new tyres early and jumping up on his teammate. 3 laps was the difference, and that definitely worked for him. And the reason Caruso's in the lead at the moment, remember that he came in on lap 3, so he had the benefit of getting the fuel done early, and that extends his range. Look at Reynolds searching for a gap down the inside. He thought long and hard about it down at turn 9.
Remember, they had a similar set of circumstances earlier on in the race where Davey went down there too hot, and then Fabian got the position back. So you're right, Michael Caruso came in on lap 3 and under the benefit of the safety car as well, the 2 safety cars, for a combined total of 7 laps. So that'll all play into his hands, just like Larko explained to us, trying to get that flexibility at the back end of the race, Larko.
Yeah, Matty, look, I'm back down here at Stone Brothers Racing. You can't underestimate the significance that this is the end of the Stone Brothers era as we know it. It's been they've been an icon of our racing community. I drove for them years ago, and it was so good as a young bloke to get the tuition from them. And they're a family affair. I can see Di Stone over the back there, Emily, her daughter. Diane used to cook for the team for a long time. Now she just buys shoes. Nick Stone, Nick Stone down there, one of the engineers. Anna Stone works in our TV department, great little operator. And I want to just try and grab a word. Jimmy Stone here, he probably won't talk much to us. We'll catch up with him on V8 Extra in a couple of weeks. Jimmy Stone's been the icon engineer, I can tell you, on pit lane for a long time. Ross, I know this is a sad day for you, mate. I don't want to make you sad, but this is the end of a very significant era in our motorsport in Australia, mate.
Yeah, it's not a sad day, mate. We're looking forward to the future. And, you know, what an opportunity it's going to be.
But I've got to take my hat off to both you and Jimmy. You provided great leadership. I did talk to you boys out on the lane, on the grid, and they were sad, mate. And I know you're going to be around for a little bit longer, and we'll talk about what Jimmy's doing around the corner. But thank you for your contribution, mate, personally, and from the whole pit lane. You're going to be sorely missed as a team.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit different, but I think that, you know, the soul of the team will live on, and that's what it's all about.
I hope so, mate. And we've just pointed out we know Diane's going to have plenty of new shoes.
Not only that, Marco, he's heard all of your bad gags over the years. So totally echo your sentiments.
Caruso from the lead. Remember, I said he was out of sequence, so things have cleansed now. And this pops Will Davison back up into the lead. But the new second place is James Courtney. Because of the undercut, Davey Reynolds has gone down the escape road at turn 1. He was having a battle with Coulthard.
And he lost a lot of spots in the stop, Neil. He went back 4 or 5 positions after the stop.
That brings Michael Caruso back in 14.
So they brought him in early. Remember, we saw both the Fujitsu cars in early, topped them back up, playing a little strategic game. That gave him more range, so temporarily gave him the lead of the race as we go on board here with David at turn 5. He's dropped to 12th. Car 55 for Bottle Racing and Rod Nash. What a day yesterday for this guy. Bent steering arm, boot repair, blow-by-blow description from Mark Beretta about how slow the boot repair was. Single or double knot was the question. But I reckon they'll have all that sorted today. Much, much cooler temperatures, ambient and clearly cockpit as well.
So Dave got to 4th, as you said, currently 12th. And this is now field cleansed after this first stop. Davison, Courtney, Tander, Lowndes. It's the run down Australia Avenue into turn 1. 250 kilometres an hour. Big, wide open entry.
Tim Slade is in 5th spot. He's 9 seconds adrift of the leader of Will Davison. So they're all strung out. Aside from the top 3, there's only 2.9 seconds. So 3 seconds separating Davison, Courtney and Tander. It's been 3 years since 2 Holden Racing Team cars have been on the podium. It was 2009 Gold Coast, and it was actually Tander and Will Davison. So Courtney and Tander are trying to work in tandem to get up there on the final race of 2012. What has Lowndes got in store? He's in 4th. Down here at turn 1, this will explain what happened to David Reynolds. He got out of it well, though.
He did a good job to turn it around, because I thought he was going to fire in the fence on the right-hand side, so it pulled up and turned around quite well in the end.
Hey guys, one of the great stories of the day today is Scott McLaughlin, right? Wins the Dunlop Development Series. He's the youngest driver to do that. He comes down off the podium. Waiting for him is Gary Rogers. And Gary, you said to him, Alex Primer's too crook to drive. Jump in his car for me. That's great.
Well, and you know, the good part, he was really enthusiastic about doing it after, you know, obviously winning the championship for the Dunlop Series. But, you know, he has driven for us in a test day a year ago. Did a good job with that. He's part of the Fujitsu brand. So we figured not to lose, and you've got to say he's not going so badly.
I was going to ask you how you're rating him. We're about a third of the way through the race. What do you reckon?
We're a third. Well, we've still got 2/3 to go there, Paul. But look, at this stage, you'd have to, if you look at the board, his times are good, his splits are good, and he drove into the pit surrounded by cars there because his racing hasn't had pit stops, and I thought he's done a great job. He's quite a cool boy, actually, quite cool.
Could be a good audition for next year, maybe.
Well, we'll worry about next year.
That's right. You announce your drivers in the new year.
Exactly.
We've had that conversation.
Now that was weird with McLaughlin. While we were speaking with Gary, he was clearly easing out of the throttle and bringing that car into pit lane and then changed his mind. We saw Tander in as well. We think there's a problem with the front of that car. Could be a bent steering arm or some other damage. So they're looking at that. The Holden Racing team, front left, looked skew-if as it came in. And when you lose this amount of time and leave the wheel off like that, you know that there's a significant drama going on with the geometry of the front suspension or a steering arm or whatever the case may be. Back with Scotty McLaughlin. This is the run up to turn 11. This is where we caught him a moment ago when the interview was on and he was coasting.
Yeah, but he looked like he was coming into the pit, didn't he? And then he turned back away from the pit entry and maintained full speed again. It's actually good for his first run with a little in-car camera to see how he's driving the car. It he's got a nice, smooth sort of style with steering technique. As we also see the FPR crew with a steering arm ready to fit to one of the cars. Now, Winterbottom's complaining. It's this car for sure.
So they're just checking. Yeah, Frosty's confirmed in. He says, I can't keep driving around with it like this. They'll do the steering arm on this car.
I got you there, mate. I got you there. Well, just when you come in, mate, just as soon as you get in, switch it off so the boys can jack it up.
So this is big news for second and third in the championship. Lowndes the penalty overnight. 22 points behind. Winterbottom coming in. And you can see the look on his face.
Stubbies, make sure we got stubbies in.
Yeah, so they're putting the jack stands under this car so that they can work on it. So all of a sudden we've seen a spate of steering arm dramas here, and it happens on the curbs when the cars are loaded under brakes. So full load of 1.5 tons under brakes. The cars have bottomed out on the front suspension. They strike the curb and it tweaks the steering. And there's a little waste, which Mark Larkham has shown us before on those steering arms. And they often bend there, but I looked at one this morning that it bent even in a different location. This is Ingle, 18th at the moment.
They've got a drama with the rear of the car. There's got no wheel. We've certainly got a problem with that now. So they were looking under the back of the car where the live rear axle configuration, very easy to bend, or a Watts linkage drama. That's Rob Starr talking to Russell Ingle. And there's something still wrong.
Guys, you need to get the car back. Something's back. Go, Jack. You need go, Jack. You need go, Jack.
That's Rob.
I think it might have broken an axle or something. Something's not right back there.
So Rusty again.
An axle because it looked like it was spinning one wheel only.
With all that experience, you heard Mark Larkham commend him earlier when he had the problem earlier in the day, just being able to give an accurate debrief. He's seen it all, heard it all, felt it all before. So there's something wrong. It's an axle, some sort of drama. So they've got the Go Jacks out now. They'll flip it around and stick it in the garage. So effectively, his day is done. Russell Ingle for Super Cheap.
So car 66. Add him to the drama list. Will Davison, though, has a 3-second lead at the front as he hunts down his first ever win on the streets of Sydney Olympic Park. Back after this.
pit lane drive through penalty car 5 for a pit stop infringement.
Mark Winterbottom grew up not far from this circuit over at Doonside. He's had success at his home race, but right now things have gone from bad to worse.
Pit lane drive-through penalty because they didn't get those jack stands under the car quick enough before personnel went beneath it. That is a contravention of the rules. You heard Chris O'Toole in the background saying jack stands, but I didn't see all the angles of it, but clearly someone was under there, and that's a risk that the category's not prepared to take.
Yeah, we might grab a word with Tim, but one thing I want to show you first, I just noticed this on the tyre. This was the tyre, wasn't steering on Winterbottom's car. Look at these little cuts on the side. Now, I just went for a walk up and had a look at Tander's tyre, and exactly the same thing. It wasn't steering on that either. So I suspect there's something out there on the circuit somewhere that's maybe having a gouge at those tyres. We might just, Tim, sorry to interrupt, mate, cop that one on the chin. I mean, I know you're big on safety.
Oh, absolutely. You know, one of the guys was under the car and they pulled the stubby out too soon. So, you know, that's error on our part. But obviously bloody frustrating that, I don't know whether there's a bolt sticking out of one of the curbs or something like that.
Well, I was just saying, mate, I just had a look at Garth Tander's tyre. Same thing, same cut.
Yeah, and obviously the way it's sort of punctured in those two locations is probably something like that. But,
all right, mate. Good luck.
Larko, is that a left or a right front, mate? Was it?
Let's have a look, mate. It's a left front.
Left front, so...
And I'm pretty sure it was left front on Garth's as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's either on a curb or in the gutter. There's a couple of places around the circuit where the wheel runs right up to the edge of the gutter. And some of the grids that are next to the gutter areas of the concrete barrier will have some drama hanging out at the bottom of them, or one of the curbs that we've just pointed out before.
Will Davison's got a 3.5 second margin over James Courtney. Courtney's lost his teammate as a tail gunner at the moment, Garth Tander, with that problem we were just describing. Lowndes is in third. There are the margins. This is the run to turn 9 that we've talked about, with the rise and fall in the road and the patchwork quilt, variety of different grip levels. Meantime, Tander gone back out with another tyre on there. Has just done the fastest time to the first timing intermediate. So he's quick, but he's buried in the field, a lap down, and is 19th.
This car looks good, doesn't it?
I was just debriefing in here with Russell Ingall. Russell, not the way to end the day. Sounds like broken axle.
Yeah, I reckon, yeah, she's broken axle with her back. He kept trailing that way, so it broke one out in the complex there. So, mate, what a low way to finish the championship. You know, we were trying to get in the 10 this weekend, and we're giving it a real good shot. The car was a jet in the first stint. We were really quick. I think we set the fastest lap there for a while, and lo and behold, the good old bad luck strikes again.
Mate, have a great Christmas holiday.
I'm going to have a damn good holiday starting from tonight with about 48,000 beers.
All the best, Russell.
Won't be too hard to find some drinking buddies. There's quite a few out there who want to drown their sorrows at the end of 2012, but not so for Will Davison. He's had a wretched run on this street circuit, 4 DNFs over the last 2 years, and not a good run yesterday, but he is in the box seat on lap 40.
Great move, mate. P7, eyes forward. Let's keep getting them.
That's our champion-elect, Jamie Whincup, and piloting car number 1, affectionately known as Kate, for their last ride together. And they're making this one count. Whincup's up to 7th, started 24th. He's got panel damage on the front of that beast, and he's made 17 spots. So his good friend, Will Davison, leads this race by 3.5 seconds as we zero in on Steve Owen and David Reynolds. Every time we catch up with Davey Reynolds in the Bottle-O entry, he has got aggression written all over him. It looks to me as though David is prepared to take on all of these concrete walls and take the risk around here.
It's 9th. Well, this battle is 9th and 10th. And we saw Reynolds go straight down the road, the escape road at turn 1 earlier, so he's having to redouble his efforts to climb back through the field and get back to where he was. So that's the reason for the aggression, Matt. So he's having a look down the inside here at turn 9. It's dusty and dirty on the inside. Look at the back of the thing, wriggling under brakes, and Owen leaves a bit of space. He had a dive down the inside yesterday, remember, when he was battling with James Moffat and Steve Owen. So nice move there from David Reynolds in the Bottle-O entry.
Well, first thing, I'm going to be hanging about Russell Ingall tonight, 48,000 beers. Seriously, I've seen what he's like after 2. He's worse than you, Scapey. Seriously, that's rubbish. Now, on lap 42, remember we showed you the critical lap number 48? Double stacking. Everyone asked me about why do these guys double stack? Well, there's quite a few things to it. So if we've got a safety car rolled right now, I can tell you there'll be a lot of double stacking going on because we're close enough to that window. Now, why they do it, first of all, there's only single booms for everyone because there simply isn't enough room in the pit lane for 2 cars of everyone. The other thing, there's a people rule. You don't have enough people or you're not allowed enough guns to service both cars at the same time. So you sort of think, well, why do they stop there and wait? Well, you just got to stop and think about it, work it out. If you say, well, I'm not going to, I'll go around behind the safety car for another lap and then come in, I can tell you that will take way longer than the 5 or 6 seconds that you might sit here double parked. And there's not a driver I've ever spoken to in the field that has a problem with it because they know the only way to get around it is be in front of your teammate.
Well explained, Larko. And the stacking, we've seen so much of it over the years, but as you said, it's like risk management in the end, and you have to get your brain around what is going to serve you best and get the best yield from your own team performance. This man at the moment is doing an extraordinary job. The car looks fantastic. Stay with us on the streets of Sydney Olympic Park.
I'm happy with chassis balance. I've been a little bit too much understeer, but I don't want to lose the rear support and disconnect the rear. Copy that, mate. Terrific. 30 to go, 30 laps.
16 cars currently on the lead lap with 30 laps remaining. So we're heading towards that critical number that Mark Larkham explained at the very start of this race, lap 48. Factor in a couple of safety cars, looking at around 48, 49, 50 even, to get you to the end of the race. So this is Whincup on Fabian Coulthard. So the order is this: Will Davison by 3.3 seconds over James Courtney, then Craig Lowndes in third in the race and looking good for second in the championship. Tim Slade fourth, Jonathan Webb fifth, and then we find these two, Coulthard and Whincup. Behind them, Reynolds, Jason Bright and Steve Owen make up our top 10.
And drivers are being told of the looming weather at the moment as well and being warned. Here we go down the inside. Nice job under brakes, Jamie Whincup. That was very nicely done. Fabian left a bit of space there. So that's a positive move to 6th position now for Whincup. So a bit of weather coming and not far away now from this next stop. It's awkward for them, so they've got to commit to slicks. As no rain right at the moment, but we are expecting to see it. And the other thing that is being talked about are some bolts protruding potentially at turn 7. They think that is what the problem is. We've seen some punctures in tyre walls. So looking around the skyline doesn't look too bad, but quite a few people have been on the radio just in the last couple of laps. No doubt they're looking at those radar images from the Bureau that we saw earlier of some of the weather sitting on the Blue Mountains to the west. This is looking rearward from Whincup's car at turn 8.
Pulled away from speed, yeah. I just have to say the same thing. That gap in one lap. This is a little shot that Neil was referring to about the radar.
And that's cycling through 20 minutes. 3 sequences of 10. And so when you see the weather at Penrith, not too far from here, you know that could be an issue. But it's going to be very postcode specific by the look of it. Depends on where you're standing as to whether you'll get wet. But the move under brakes into... You can actually see a bit of rain on the horizon there at the moment, but the move into turn 1 for Whincup was really strong down there.
It was. Come from a long way back, got it done very well, and then disappeared straight afterwards. The next lap he has opened, there's an 8/10 gap straight away. A 29.22 for Whincup on that lap, a 31.41. So, although we've said that Will Davison's speed is very impressive and has set the fastest lap of the race so far, Whincup very fast on the last lap.
Now, Will's saying he's got a little bit too much understeer, but he doesn't want to fiddle much with the rear roll centre in the car because he doesn't want to disturb the back of the car too much. So he's probably going to have to live with what he's got. It's not bad. He's got a 3.8 second margin over James Courtney. However, Jason Bright, who's 9th at the moment, they are going to lift the rear roll centre in that car and give him more turn for the final stint of the race.
And Lowndes, conversely, just doesn't look fast enough, Neil. No. I mean, he's 7.5 seconds away from the back of Courtney. From the back of Davison in the lead. It's 3.5 seconds from the back of Courtney. And that car wasn't fast enough the whole time.
You're never 100% sure of where they are in this fuel discussion that we had at length yesterday.
So Davison won 6 races in the first 5 rounds. He had to wait until the Gold Coast to win his 7th. He's on track today for number 8.
How many laps left in this stint? Okay, go. 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 Here.
It's about to get really busy in pit lane already. Jason Bright has gone through.
Getting ready at Team Vodafone as well. Nice new Dunlop hard tyres sitting in there ready. Just ducked outside during the break to have a real up-close look at the weather. Doesn't look too bad in the near vicinity, but it's definitely less than convincing towards the west.
Tim Slade has also gone through pit lane while we're in that break. The front end lift for the Orcon steel car of Mark Winterbottom and taking it right out to the fence. So here he comes. Whincup in.
From 5th.
I can't see you just yet. So we're going to do the 4 tyres. Give that front a bit of a tweak. Got a nice lead in, let's take advantage of it. Nice and steady for it.
So they've completed 49 laps, as Larko suggested. This is the critical lap that gets them fueled to the end.
What do you reckon? Fit around here? Straight up. Anything here?
Just waiting for the fuel to go in, so they've got plenty of time. And Whincup goes out in front. So holds his position. One of the things that he hasn't managed to achieve, Jamie Whincup, after achieving just about everything in this sport, is a podium at this event. Best around here has been 5th. And like we said yesterday, that would put a perfect full stop to what has been a season of near perfection.
Seeing good fuel numbers from Will's in now, and also from James Courtney, who yesterday was really compromised.
Come in, stop on the mark, mate.
Here's James as well, and
we'll
Craig.
check your mirrors. We'll do a tear off. We'll change tyres.
That's a massive gain of Lowndes. Lowndes was 3.5 seconds behind Courtney before that stop there. Now that's only 0.6 of a second on the way into pit lane. So either Courtney had a little mistake on the lap preceding the stop, or Lowndes has been taking ground
You will be right.
of James. And there's Triple Eight.
Cold green. Green tyres. Cold green tyres.
That leaves Jonathan Webb and Michael Caruso out the head of the field.
That's a change for position.
Just.
Lowndes in front of Courtney, so when this all corrects, that's been a shift for second and third. Pretty important one. Yesterday makes you wonder whether or not James just didn't get the full fuel delivery, that he was so starved of fuel at the end, or they just had a very unusual engine map in it and it was just too rich, but he was miles from getting home. Today he's done much better fuel mileage by the look of it.
And there's that great bonnet, thanks to Holden. Todd and Rick Kelly have been with Holden for many years. They started their career with the Young Lions program. They've been very loyal over that period of time. Holden have supported them when they went out on their own, with their own team. And this today is effectively their last run. Todd Kelly obviously out of the car over the last couple of weekends with a shoulder injury, and that'll be hopefully all back to full speed ahead for Todd at the start of 2013, and they will be with the Nissan program with 4 factory cars from the Pixel 500 onwards.
All the tyres are done.
Todd's desperate to be part of that too. He doesn't want to miss that first drive.
We're just waiting on the fuel. Clear to go on your drop, mate. All clear, all clear.
So the Techno Autosports entry of Jono Webb completes his final pit stop. A bit more race tape for car 1.
Yeah, and Matty, just to expand on that for folks at home, they don't just put that silver race tape on it to make the thing look good again. It's very, very important these cars rely on downforce at the front, and that comes from low pressure under the front of the car. Massive influence on the ability to drive the car and brake the car. And by having the headlight open like that, high pressure air can bleed in there through those gaps and prevent or disturb the low pressure beneath the front of the car. It's very, very difficult. So then you've got to bring your rear anti-roll bar up to stiffen the thing to make it turn. That has a consequence on your rear tyres. So you go round and round in a circle. Best thing to do, bit of sticky tape.
Guys, as the general manager commercial for Kelly Racing, Nick Ryan's probably had one of the busiest years so far, but Nick, this is where it all really picks up, the transition now from Holden to Nissan.
Yeah, it certainly does, Brett. It's been a huge year so far getting ready with the Nissan program, but also continuation of our Holden program finishing this weekend. It was exciting that we got to turn a wheel for the crowd this weekend, so they get to see what the future is going to hold for us. But now it really kicks in. We've got a huge amount of development and everything to get ready before we actually get to Clipsal next year.
Nick, what stage are you at? How far have you gone down the road with the car?
Yeah, we've still got some final homologation things to get through before we can sign off and tick off the car and finish all the production arms things. So we've got a number of chassis that have already been completed, but once that homologation is completed, then we can finally go into all the key elements and get ready and have all the engines and everything else ready for Clipsal.
And another big milestone next week with the aero testing?
Yeah, that is a huge step. Hopefully that will be the final stage, and really once that's done, then we can tick all the final boxes that we need to make sure that the full production of the components to go with the car can go forward. So until that stage is completed, we're sort of holding our breath a little bit, but all so far so good.
Nick, it's a massive effort and a huge congratulations to you guys. Can't wait to see you on the grid at Clipsal.
Thanks, Brett.
Nick Ryan there from Kelly Racing. A bit of an update on young Scott McLaughlin in his very busy weekend. He's 17th at the moment. He's the last car on the lead lap, but I had a look at his lap times and his peak lap speed, and it's comparable with those in the midfield at the moment. So it's a good opening account. He's a long way from being the slowest guy out there, so well done. And this is an important and valuable initiation for him in a very, very tough afternoon of racing. Take a break, back in a tick.
Here's a juicy battle unfolding between James Courtney and Craig Lowndes. Remember, they switched positions in pit lane. Lowndes just snuck out ahead of car 22, and now James has got his mojo back and is going after car 888.
really sliding the car around at the moment too, Courtney, so he's having a big push. And they've already begun to start talking fuel numbers also to Win Cup. Not sure in which direction, might be using more or using less. But this is a very interesting battle. There's Winterbottom. A tough day for him. Yeah, when he gets the break because of the points penalty for Craig yesterday, you think, okay, well, this puts us back in business for the runner-up in the championship. And here's the provisional situation as it sits at this point. So it sees Team Vodafone 1 and 2 at the moment. And with Frosty 1 lap down, hard to imagine how he's going to be able to climb out of that noose.
The other guy that's done a good job after the second stop is Tim Slade, who's now in 5th, but he's really in 4th. A big brake lock up at turn 9 for Jason Bright. Locked the left-hand front, couldn't get the wheel unlocked. Did a pretty good job to spin it around so quickly. And this is a very, very good battle. Courtney's looked like he had better speed the whole time, Neil.
And for Bright then, that happened as the car rebounded out of that dip in the road, so it's back on the rise, it's extending, rebounding on the front shock absorber, and the unloaded front tyre just locking and had no chance of stopping it. This is a very good battle, and a lap or two ago I reckon that Courtney had a margin, but clearly I reckon Lowndes has stepped up just a fraction here, so there may be a little bit of a fuel conservation game being played. Tandem meantime has done another fastest lap of the race, a 1:28.8. He is 1 lap down together with Mark Winterbottom. They're 18th and 19th.
This stage of the race yesterday and just a little bit later, James Courtney was absolutely flying. He ended up 3rd after Tim Slade managed to get past him, and the fuel game started to really grab Courtney by the neck. So if he's got enough in the tank this time around to go full bore to the end, it's going to be quite something to watch. Will Davison, as Michael Caruso comes into pit lane, that will make the field cleansed again, and Will Davison goes to the front.
So Caruso, who's been out of sync with the key runners, comes in now for his final stop of the day from the lead of the race. So remember again, if you've only just joined us, Mark Winterbottom got KO'd turn 1, lap 1.
Lane's clear. The car drop scope.
Position 3, back to main pump. Beware, you will be merging with other cars.
So he's going to drop in behind David Reynolds at the back end of the top 10 somewhere, 9th, 10th in that realm.
Yeah, that's 9th. So in between David Reynolds and Steve Owen. So just by being out of step just a little bit.
Ought to be a valve spring just then now.
And because those tyres haven't come up to temp and pressure, did you hear them in the background then? So just skittering across the road at turn 2, 3, 4, just sliding everywhere. You've just got to be very careful how you treat the car and the tyres in the opening lap of the stint. It just literally doesn't have the support in the bag. This gives you a real indication at turn 8 of how busy this racetrack is. A little rest on the run from the final turn down to turn 1. The rest of the time, the eyes are on stalks. He's Bright. Had that wild moment at turn 9. He's dropped back into 12th spot now behind Stephen Johnson. Incidentally, Scotty McLaughlin I spoke about before, he's come in for his final stop. Remember, they brought him in right at the beginning of the day as well, so took him out of sequence slightly.
The weather doesn't look very nice out there now. It's much darker from the west. So Davison, Lowndes, Courtney, Slade, Webb, Whincup, Coulthard, Reynolds, Caruso, Owen, and then this battle, Steve Johnson and Jason Bright. That's your top 12 cars.
Under 20 laps remaining in this one. Will Davison leads the way for the Ford fans as we approach the end of an era. After this, we'll go commercial free all the way to the finish.
know you need to call the traffic on the way out. I've got no mirror, so I can't see out the right side of the car.
Yep, copy that, mate. Just tyres and fuel and water. Got winter bottom coming down now. We'll get you rolling once the fuel's done. Winter bottom passed now, so you'll be right to go once the fuel's done. Yeah, away you go. Good job, mate. Okay.
Well, two men who could have been contenders in this race have just come into pit lane. One was Garth Tander, he's gone through. The other, Mark Winterbottom, who's just had a dreadful run on the final day, where he came into this race with just a slight lead and second in the championship over Garth Tander. Now, if we keep looking that way for the next 15 laps, we might find something coming our way, because that's where the weather is coming from. It's all of a sudden just got that grey, murky feel about it, hasn't it, Cromper?
Yeah, especially when you see those orange and red dots to the north, just slightly to the north of the precinct here at the moment. It's certainly going to be wet in different spots around Sydney at the moment, but so far so good here. This battle continues between Courtney and Lowndes, second and third here. It's the opposite of the way it was in the early portion of the race, and again, Courtney finds himself looking racy on day 2, Sydney Telstra 500, so this is a good run. Tim Slade in the background there as well, looking strong in fourth. Matt Crawford just told James Courtney there is no problem for fuel. You can run hard to the end. That'll be great news for him after yesterday's conservation run in the back end of the race. So a 1:29.1 for Davison. They're still lapping very quickly at the moment. A 29.1 for Lowndes, 9.2 for Courtney, 9.5 for Slade. So he doesn't quite have the pace, Tim. 9.3 for Jonathan Webb. Whincup was the next through on a 9.3 as well. Tiny gap, but it's hard for Courtney here because he's swallowing hot air from behind the Team Vodafone car at the moment. It's bumping up the temps on the engine and on the brakes and on the transmission, and it also blinds the following driver from making the ideal turn-ins, ideal brake references. To some extent, you've got to drive to the rhythm of the guy in front. And round here, that means you can follow another driver in very easily into a tyre barrier or into a concrete wall. So it really makes the work rate even tougher.
You can lose another mirror along the way. Now, Craig Lowndes, a supremely popular V8 supercar driver. James Courtney, a Western Sydney boy originally. Victory on these streets. Celebrated a championship on these streets. So he's got a lot of support around here as well. And let's not forget too that Lowndes is trying to equal our mate's record, the all-time race wins of the Australian Touring Car Championship. Mark Scape sits on 90. Lowndes yesterday, his victory took him to 89.
They're driving hard, these two. They're like qualifying laps at the moment. There's no room on any of the exits. The cars are sliding. They're using their rubber.
30 laps to go. Nice, conservative view. Just need to finish this. Done a great job. Have a drink.
Jeremy Moore speaking to Tim Blanchard, who does the right thing. He's a couple of laps down. He gets well out of their way so that he's no influence at all. They're driving the wheels off these things at the moment. Look at that. No exit space on one. It was thousandths of an inch to the right-hand side.
And that's the important thing. They can still see Will Davison. He's only 3.8 seconds up the road. So they've got a visual on the race leader.
Courtney's a bit hungrier through turn 3 there across that curve. He throws the car a little bit further to the right. It's taking it quite nicely as well. It's the rear shot of them at turn 5 as we go back to car 55, Dave Reynolds, position 8. And Michael Caruso, we saw his out-of-sequence latest stop in the Fujitsu entry. So a good run for them inside the top 10. And it'll be younger tyres on Caruso's car. Lap 49 for David Reynolds, he came in. And lap 56 for Michael Caruso. So fresher rubber will certainly help his cause. He's got the lights on. It's generally an indication of I've got a quick car, watch me, here I come, and would you mind giving me some space? Which typically triggers the make your own arrangements response from the bloke in front.
This has been the passing spot of the day, as Gary Rogers looks on there with Jeffrey Brown, great mate of Gary's, been a long time supporter, head of Channel 9. See there, Michael Caruso putting a huge amount of pressure on Dave Reynolds, right up in behind the final 2 corners. As Neil said before, the visibility is very difficult when you're right in behind there, tucked up behind the other car. It's so hard to see where your car is relatively positioned. You've just got to have 100% faith that the guy in front has got enough road and uses it properly. And Reynolds is now, I thought he was going to be very late move there from Caruso. I thought he was going to be down the inside.
A great learning experience here for McLaughlin, who's tagging along behind. He's a bit out of sequence, but it gives him an understanding of the kind of work rate that's required to be competitive at the sharper end of the V8 Supercar field main game.
Mark Winterbottom's just done the fastest lap of the race, a 1:28.48. That's a 10th off the lap record set last year by Craig Lowndes.
It's a quick round here, doesn't it? Average speed of the circuit's just 140 kilometres an hour, but they do look fast between these concrete walls in a couple of spots, particularly on that run through turn 5. That sweeper is quick. It's the fastest corner on the circuit. Dave knows he's got pressure. When you do that, you just use every last fraction of the racetrack. And Caruso searching for a bit of cool air here and there to just try and keep the brake temps and the engine temperature down a bit. He's right on him in turn 9. And we're looking from Scott McLaughlin's car. He just came in, got some fuel, so he's got even fresher tyres than the guys in front, so he's potentially quicker than them.
Oh, big slide. Oh, got away with it. You can hear the tyre squeal.
Too much curb.
As the car slid sideways on that lap. McLaughlin did a 30.03. Caruso and Dave Reynolds 29.7 and 29.9.
See there, Caruso looking for that cool air again. And these fellas are 30-odd seconds off the lead of the race.
Lowndes looks like he's rebounded a little bit. He's got a 1.1 second lead over Courtney now. So that speed that we saw James Courtney emerge onto the back of Lowndes has just balanced itself out a little bit. Sometimes the tyre pressure start, sometimes the cars are better on the first few laps with the fuel load on. Sometimes the drivers need to then reset the stabiliser bars or sway bars and also brake balance just to get their car into a zone that's as good as it can possibly be. It's on board now with Jono Webb. He's in 5th position.
He's having a lonelier run. There's a fair bit of fresh air between him and Tim Slade, but he can't afford to relax too much because behind him you've got Jamie Whincup and it's about 1.5 to 2 seconds away. So he just had a glimpse in the rear vision mirror. He'll be keeping an eye out on that margin, and behind Whincup it's Coulthard. There's the gap. There's Jamie. This is turn 1. And these fellas are about 15 and 17 seconds respectively.
Whincup behind. Try and catch Slade.
Off the lead of the race, so Jeff Slater just making sure that Jonathan Webb's kept informed about the margin to Jamie Whincup. This is the view, turns 2, 3, 4 from the chopper. There's more exit space at turn 4 that allows the cars to run wide in second gear and slide. That's where we saw some great action at the start of the race between Tander and Davison, which culminated in a great pass at turn 5.
This isn't a challenging racetrack. It's just got a really good mix of slow and fast corners. As we've said before, undulations, that undulating area out the front of the Novotel. And the cars come through this roller coaster, and look at all the mirrors. That's all the mirrors onto the front, straight onto Australia Avenue on the final corner. It's like a wrecking yard of driver's side exterior mirrors. They're all parked there.
Bit of super glue and you get a few mirrors there. By the time you grab all the different components there, you can put at least one decent one together.
You're so frugal.
Guys, it's always a big boost to see this guy, Casey Stoner, in the Team Vodafone garage. Casey, you've really enjoyed your time with the team here the last couple of years. How do you rate them as a professional outfit?
No, extremely good. I mean, you know, I've been around, I've seen a lot, and, you know, it's just great to see everyone support each other in this team, basically. And, you know, win or lose, they're always the same. They always want to be better. And, you know, that's why I think they're at the top, and that's why everybody else is chasing.
They'd be a good team to spend more time with in the future, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't really ask for better, but, you know, we're not too sure what the future holds. I know what I'd like to do, but I have to be realistic.
Well, you're halfway there with the right sponsor on your hat too, Casey.
Yeah, it's we got there first, though, so it's all good.
Mate, great to see you here. I know the guys love having you in the garage, and have a great Christmas, and hopefully we'll see more of you next year. All the best.
Thank you very much. Same yourself. Thank you.
And Matt, is that like leading the witness?
Yeah, I was going to say we need to get Brett's one of those little press cards that stick out the top of the hat and scoop. He's been on the charge this weekend. He's been pestering everybody for information. They're not going to give it away, but he's chipping away. And by the way, these guys out, not these guys, but Craig Lowndes and James Courtney, who we've been tracking, are starting to get a little bit closer to Will Davison as we get underneath 10 laps. So 8 laps left. Davey Reynolds holding off Michael Caruso. So that's 8th and 9th.
There's 4.5 seconds covering first, second and third. And on the last lap, the spread of time between them was about 2 to 3/10 of a second. So it was a 28.9 for Will, a 29.2 for Craig, and a 28.8 for James Courtney. And in the earlier sector splits, particularly through sector 1, they were all basically doing the same time. So it's very, very even across those top 3 cars at the moment. Here's our race leader, Will Davison, super slow-mo. Up on 2 wheels, conserving rubber.
You are so frugal today, aren't you?
Every penny.
He's still thinking about those mirrors, how he can make some money out of them.
Here we are back with Will.
Go down to turn 13 and have a long, hard look at yourself from home. That's what you can do.
There's usually enough bits laying around here at the end of the day. If you're a bit sharp, you can put together a fairly decent race car.
Well, there'll be a few up for sale after this one because they're all relegated to, well, wherever they're going to head off, I guess. But Current Future Time coming our way in 2013. So brand spankers for everybody next year when we get to the Clipsal 500.
And many of these cars are sold. Deals have been done. Obviously quite a flooded market at the moment, but many of them will find their way to the Dunlop Development Series next year. It's a bit of a buyer's market.
Well, it has been. There's currently 23 of the cars that we've seen today are sold, so they'll make up big composition next year in the Dunlop Development Series and the DBS Series, which is already a very strong series. We saw today Scott McLaughlin wrap that series up. For those who are following him in his run today in car 33, he is currently 18.
And interesting stat that Aaron Noonan generated, he tracks all the chassis numbers of these cars over their history. In the total period of V8 supercars, as we know them, 309 of these cars have been built. That's a fair car park, isn't it?
Not all 309 are still great.
No, 1 or 2 of them have been wadded up slightly and are currently enjoying some quiet time with the crushed Coke cans.
309 built, 308 rebuilt.
So Lowndes has got a little cushion now with Courtney, snuck away a little bit.
And for the first time in a long time, the lead has gone under 3 seconds. 2.8 seconds is the difference between Will Davison and Craig Lowndes. So Lowndes has just dropped James Courtney a touch. That was Tim Slade coming through. He's in 4th. Here comes 5th. Jonathan Webb, former winner on these streets. There's Jamie Whincup. In the space of 6 or 7 laps, he'll be thinking about that championship trophy.
But the margin between Davison and Courtney has narrowed up a little bit as well. So Lowndes has kind of skipped away, and we know they've always got great tyre consistency, so towards the end of the race they're often strong. But Courtney's crept up relative to the leader as well by about 0.3 of a second.
It's a great shot, isn't it? Cars move around so much, so difficult to modulate the brake over the rise and through the dip and over the differing surfaces.
In fact, Courtney was the fastest of the 3 leading drivers on that last lap. He was 3.5 quicker than Will Davison. Here's Lowndes. He's looking on the exit of turn 4. And that's Will, just glimpses of the Trading Post Falcon through turn 6 and 7 there. And right there's the tyre belt where we think there were some issues for Garth Tander and Mark Winterbottom earlier in the day. The driver's been warned to try and stay away from that tyre belt down there just in case.
It's Courtney when he fell off the camber of the road on the way out of 8 then. He battled not to hit the fence with the right rear guard. It was sideways and wheel spinning. You can see them all trying very hard now with only 5 laps to run.
To the second sector then, Lowndes was the fastest of the trio as he approach the braking area in turn 9. So he might end up with the quickest lap of the top 3 guys on this lap, but it's very, very close.
5 to go, mate. 5 to go. Gap is 2.8. Same lap that time.
1:29.17. Grant McPherson there on the radio for Will. 1:29.17 for Craig Lowndes. 1:29.20 for James Courtney. I mean, that's next to nothing.
Here's Webb getting hounded by Jamie Whincup. You think of what's at stake with 5 laps remaining. The final race win of the year is always a good one to get. The final race win of this era of V8 Supercars, Ford versus Holden. For Will Davison, he wants to end the season on a high and finally get over this bogey track. It's put him into the wall so many times. For Craig Lowndes, he doesn't want to be stuck on 99 not out, if you like. There goes Webb, makes a mistake and Whincup goes through. In cricket terms, Craig Lowndes wants to get the century tonight, even though he'd be 10 short. He wants to get 90 race wins and equal Yusuke. He doesn't want to wait to do it next year. So in the next 5 laps, Lowndes has got 2.5 seconds to make up. He's going to throw everything at it. There's second in the championship on the line as well. There's so much at stake, and that's what happened to Webb. He just came in too hot, went straight through,
locked the rear brakes.
And that puts Jamie Whincup to 5th.
Lowndes with the lights on. He was 4/10 quicker than the second intermediate on this lap, so we'll see what he's got. 1:29.2.
2.6 to go in front.
28.96.
Yeah, so Lowndes has really stepped it up on this lap relative to the other 2 that he's been racing. And again, it looks like we're going to have either a Ford Performance Racing or a Team Vodafone top step. It's been an extraordinary season for these 2 teams. They've just duked it out throughout the course of the year. A few have tried to spoil the party. We thought Tim Slade might have been able to do that yesterday. Holden Racing team have threatened today, but still the others can't break this stranglehold.
He's definitely taken ground off now. He's back to 2.3 seconds now. See that gap? Lowndes, when he's like this, is one of the most fierce competitors the sport's ever seen. He just continually does qualifying lap after qualifying lap speed in terms of his effort. And around here we've seen the unforgiving nature of the place. So difficult not to bump a fence or run over a curb or damage a steering arm or front suspension. So they're using every little bit of road with maximum effort in the closing stages of this race with a 2.3 second gap, as I said. That's Caruso with Steve Owen. They're battling for 9th and 10th. So Davison, Lowndes, Courtney, Slade's doing a very good job. Whincup, Webb, Coulthard, Reynolds, Caruso and Owen. That's the battle that you see there now. And Owen jumps ahead to go into 9th spot. Right behind them is Jason Bright.
And it's younger tyres on Michael Caruso's car, so he's either got a problem or maybe the balance of the car's bad. But he's going to get grabbed by Jason Bright here as well, so he's drifting outside the top 10. That's for position. Jason Bright moving up into the top 10 with that move. So suddenly Michael Caruso is just limping. Maybe he's got a bent steering arm or some other issue.
You drive really slow, we'll finish up P16. You drive really slow, we'll finish up P16. It's ready to go after this one.
Yeah, so there's an issue.
We'll just check the steering. Just when he straightens up there, it looked like, yeah, it's left hand down, so, but not massively. It's hard to tell. Yeah, definitely his left hand down, so it's got a bent steering arm.
So he's letting them all go by, just limping home now. Steve putting a Todd Kill on the radio to him, he just cruised, we can get there. So that's a great disappointment from what looked like.
After the goes by, we've got a fair gap, it's ready to go.
Just giving traffic information, and there is Carl Reindler. Fresh engine in that car at the top of the day. Fresh air under the left-hand side of it at turn 8. Look at the rubber groove there on the right-hand side. So again, on this lap, Lowndes a little bit quicker to the second timing, intermediate at turn 9. 2.3 seconds is the margin. Don't know whether he's going to get there, but it's certainly going to be close. There they are, the top 3 men. This is the run to turn 1. That's just on 250 kilometres an hour. 29.2 for Davison, 29.2 for Lowndes, and a 29.2 for James Courtney.
Who would you rather be, the hunter or the hunted?
I'd rather be in the FPR Falcon at the moment. He's got enough gap, and if he uses his head, he's been very good today. I'm really impressed with his drive today. The car looks like it flows better in terms of setup, Neil. The way that it runs over the curb, it keeps the mid-corner speed up. And if you can keep the mid-corner speed up, you don't have to accelerate the car so hard on the exit, which makes the tyres live. And say through there, that's been a really good example at the bus stop, where he runs the right-hand curb and then he bumps the left-hand curb, and it hardly makes any difference to the body of the car. Really nicely done today.
It soaks these huge shocks really nicely, doesn't upset the body, so he could be on for win number 8. And it's the delivery of the promise that Matt talked about before, what should have been for him, because he's qualified fantastic in for Michael Caruso. That's a great shame.
Just park it in the garage.
So that's his last run for Fujitsu Racing GRM, and was well inside the top 10, and whatever the drama is going to see him parked up in the garage. Dean Fiore's in front of Will Davison here. We'll get another lap time read this time through for Will. It's a
last lap, mate. Fuel is perfect. Red one if you want it.
1:29.4 for Will, 1:29.3 for Craig, and a 1:29.7 for James. But plenty of margin here, and now about 3,000 metres to go before it's all done and dusted for 2012.
So it just needs to be mistake-free for Will Davison, who got this season off to a blistering start. He won at least one race for the first 5 rounds. Middle of the season didn't go his way. That's when his championship hopes started to fade away. He clawed it back on the streets of the Gold Coast. He had tough luck yesterday, but he's been back in that kind of groove today. Kind of groove that we've seen Whincup run through. 12 victories for the season. So this will be number 8 for Will. He's won at Bathurst before, but I reckon this one will be up there in terms of the sweetest of victories, simply because of what it represents today. He is flying the flag for Ford. He's held off Lowndes. He did it from position 2. And after 20 years of V8 supercar racing between Ford and Holden, the Blue Oval salutes on the final day. Will Davison claims victory.
Yeah, bro. Hell yeah. Great shot, buddy. Awesome work. Last ever winner in car of the past.
Couldn't have said it better ourselves. Lowndes second, James Courtney third, Tim Slade fourth. But here comes our 2012 champion.
Can't thank you guys enough. Thank you.
Woohoo! You're looking at a modern day great of this game. His 4th series crown.
Pull over here to the left if you can. Watch for a car. Pull over and let it pass, because we can't officially start burnouts until they tell us on the radio, which is when all the cars pass. So we can't just do the off-field stuff. So just hold there and I'll give you a shout, mate.
It's kind of been that way since Winton, where they've had a lid on the celebrations, and now they're just going to have to wait a little bit more. So that's your podium. Davison, Lowndes and Courtney. That's a superb, flawless drive from Will Davison, and Team Vodafone 1-2 in the championship.
19 shots for PD, is what they just said.
I was on it.
Yeah, you're right.
I think we should pair him and Russell up.
If the team just have the driver on channel, I'll let you know when 14 is passed.
So they're just waiting for the final cars to go past before letting Jamie Whincup cut loose. So let's take a look at the provisional results for you. So Will Davison, 8th win of the season. That's his 14th win of his career. Fabian Coulthard in 15th. So Scott McLaughlin, a late call-up in car 33, and finishes in 17th, ahead of Mark Winterbottom, who came into this race 2nd in the championship and now ends up 3rd. And as you'd expect on this circuit, quite a few DNFs. They're still waiting. Mark Dutton just wants to cut him loose. They want to dump all the rubber off this car. That's his plan. But it's been just an extraordinary season for Whincup, claiming Bathurst. And everything he's done this year, he's done it in style.
Okay, mate, that car's pulled over, so... I thought he was going to bump the fence there. He was going to make the Cooper's sign for sure.
So Whincup again finishes 5th. That's the best he can muster around this place.
Been hard work for him, hasn't it?
Could have been a different story yesterday. Remember, he was in control, really. Worked along his teammate, Craig Lowndes, up to 2nd in the championship. So they farewell Vodafone. That partnership has been ultra successful. Jamie has had such a relationship with Kate, the name given to this car that he's had so much success with. He loves this baby, and with good reason.
Almost Olympic rings.
Oh, dear. Puts him up with the Hall of Famers in terms of 4 Australian Touring Car Championship or V8 Supercar titles. Bob Jane, Alan Moffat and Jim Richards, and now Whincup officially.
He's going to pop the door off in a second.
Just a reminder in the off-season.
It's a bit used, doesn't it?
Reaching across the bonnet as well.
He needs to work a deal out with Roland Day. This car's second-hand. I buy it off you. Discount.
Only driven on Sundays.
Well, there are times during this season, I remember at Winton as well, when we were on board.
We got no fuel. Stop, mate. We can't punch this engine. Sorry, brother. She's got no juice. We're just going to have to cruise up it, mate. You can back.
Hey, Will Davison, congratulations. What a magic way to finish the year with a win.
Oh, yeah, it is really magic. And particularly here at Homebush, I've led the last 4 years here, and I've just had a disastrous effort. And to win it now, it's a gruelling event. So to go into the to the off-season with the 8th win of the year, it's been a great year. We haven't capitalised on some events, but it's been a great year. So it's a great send-off to Trading Post. It's great for all the Ford fans to go into the off-season with a big win. All the other sponsors on our team, Castrol and West Track and Orcon, and all my boys. Everyone in the FPR team deserves this, so we're going to work hard in the off-season. I just wish I could have joined J-Dub and done like some synchronised donuts, but they wouldn't let me. So it's been a great year racing, and bring on next year.
Hey, well done. Have a good break. Enjoy the podium up there, Will. Well done.
Party hard, and thanks a lot. Hey to everyone. Have a good Christmas.
Well done. Let's get across to Craig Lowndes, who's had a magnificent finish to the year. Lowndesy, a win yesterday, a 2nd on the podium today. That is a great way to wrap up 2012.
Well, look, it is, Brett, and I think for us as Team Vodafone, it's what a way to finish a championship. Had a great battle with Will and with James, and of course we had to be up here. We had to get that 2nd position, and of course we put our best foot forward. But obviously, credit to Jamie for obviously one hell of a year. But look, all in all, like I'm wrapped. I'm happy that the season's over. I'm sad we're losing Vodafone, but I'm looking forward to next year with Car of the Future. So it's all happening. But I just got to say hello to Levi and Chili at home.
Was the championship on your mind, getting that 2nd spot wrapped up? Was that weighing on you?
Oh, look, for sure. There's no doubt about that. Of course, qualifying was pretty critical this morning, and of course, to be on the side-by-side with Will, and look, I feel with Frosty. I feel for him a little bit because obviously he did his right thing. He got taken out of 2 and 1, and of course from then on it went down from him. So look, it was one of those battles that was going to happen and go either way, and look, I'm thankful it went our way.
Listen, come with me. I think you're going to say hello to your teammate over here because it's all going a bit crazy over here for our series champion. Teammates together, Craig Lowndes and Jamie Whincup, and that has been some finale to the year. Jamie, congratulations. This has been a long, hard year. It's been a lot of hard work. There's been immense pressure, but it is done. You are the champion. Congratulations.
Yeah, obviously tough day for us, but for Lowndesy, 1-2 in the championship. What an effort. We had the same thing here last year, and thought, how the hell are we going to repeat that, and we come back and scored more points. So big thank you to everyone at the team. I can't thank them enough, and also everyone at Vodafone. This is end of an era. We'll come back next year and go hard.
It's great. A 4th championship really puts you up in some pretty rarefied company.
I honestly don't know how to answer that. It's I'm just rolling along. I feel like I'm just in the heat of the battle, and having some fun out there. So hopefully that continues for a long time.
Good on you, Jamie. I think your car's a bit warm, mate.
Yeah, she's a bit worn out as well. Unfortunately, the nice chrome paint copped a bit of grief.
You might get a nice price on that one from Roland.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this trophy for weeks now, so can't wait to get up there and show the hard work that's gone on.
Good on you, Jamie. Congratulations. See you up there. Right, of course, James Courtney finishing third in the race today. JC, congratulations. We talk about strong finishes to the year, but this was important to you to get these results. 2 podiums in the last 2 races.
Yeah, look, Brett, it's been a pretty dismal year, and it's great to finish off the year with 2 third places. Good qualifying this morning with pole with GT, and we were third, so it's a good way to finish the era with these cars. Wish I was Jamie celebrating another championship, but it's going to have to wait another year. But thanks everyone at home for watching for another year. It's been chaotic. Let's hope next year's better for us.
Mate, we'll let you get up to the podium and enjoy it. Well done, James Courtney.
Thanks everyone. Cheers. Hi, Kaz.
Frosty, we said yesterday we weren't going to have this chat again, mate. We really need to be talking to you on the podium. Just hard to crack this, John, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a disaster, but you know, this place, it can catch you out, and that's why it should be the final round of our championship, because it's a real nail biter. You don't know if you're going to finish or not, and yeah, that turn 1 disaster. You know, Moff comes skidding down the inside. Whenever you're close to him, you know, you just know something's going to happen. So yeah, I got stuck in the tyres and then got a puncture and felt like a steering arm. It didn't actually feel like a tyre, but I'm looking forward to some holidays and some Christmas pudding, because that was a tough one.
Well done, mate. And Dave Reynolds, peace ever, mate. Can't be unhappy with that. Finish the year. Looking forward to next year.
Yeah, started 15. Started 15th and finished 7th, so you're not too bad. I think I could have got a better result, but you know, I bent the steering arm, my arms are numb, my legs are numb. I just want to go drink a beer. What about you boys?
Well, Russell Ingall actually said during the telecast he reckons he's going to go and drink 48,000 beers. Now, we've all seen Russell drink. I reckon he's good for about 2.
2 can Sam, yeah, he's out. Hit two glasses and he's anyone's, you know him.
And just on next year, mate, just quickly to talk about 2013. I mean, you must be, because you've done quite a bit of running with the car of the future already, you must be pretty pumped about that, mate. I mean, I know, seriously, watching them run there today, it sort of sunk in that this is really going to happen. It's pretty exciting, isn't it?
It is. February's not far away either. That's scary. We'll test our car in December, about December 15. So the car's ready to race. You know, that's one of our 4 race cars for next year that we saw on track today. And I was pushing hard and actually felt a little bit nicer than my current car. So I'm looking forward to it. It's great for the sport, 4 brands. It's a new era, and it's exciting to be involved. So yeah, it's not far away.
All right, boys, enjoy your Christmas. Look forward to seeing you next year.
Thanks, mate.
There's an enormous crowd building in pit lane and on the front straight, because it's time for the podium, and there'll be 4 drivers up there, 4 very popular drivers about to head your way. Mark Beretta.
Matty, a very exciting time. Welcome to the podium for the 2012 V8 Supercars Sydney Telstra 500. Speaking on behalf of our major sponsor Telstra at the 30th race of the year is Barry Propeller, the Executive Director of Solutions and Business Development from Telstra. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you. On behalf of Telstra, I'd like to congratulate the podium winners for an exciting finish to the finale of the 2012 season. It was a fantastic race today. I'd like to thank all the fans for the continued support of the V8 Supercar Series and the Championship Series. For Channel 7 for providing it at home, and I'd like to say that Telstra is very pleased and proud to connect you via our T-Box, via the internet, via the smartphone, or via the app. So congratulations to all the winners and a fantastic 2012 season. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry, and thank you to our major sponsor, Telstra. Now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please congratulate the winning drivers from our final race of 2012. In first place for Trading Post FPR Ford, Will Davison. In second place for Team Vodafone, Craig Lowndes. In third place, Holden Racing Team's James Courtney. And representing our winning team, Trading Post FPR Ford, is Nathaniel Osborne. Making the presentation to third place is Jeremy Hill, the Group Manager, Strategic Marketing, Coates Hire. Presenting to second place is Barry Propeller, the Executive Director, Solutions and Business Development of our major sponsor, Telstra. And making the presentation to the winning team is Glenn Cooper, the Executive Director and Chairman of Cooper's Brewery. Presenting the first place trophy, the Honourable George Souris MP, Minister for Tourism, Major Events, Hospitality and Racing, and Minister for the Arts. And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the 2012 V8 Supercars champion from Team Vodafone, Jamie Whincup. Jamie, congratulations. A long, tough year, but this is the reward. This is as good as it gets. Congratulations, 4th championship.
Whew, thanks, Brett. Obviously, this is what it's all about. Congratulations to the boys today. We had a tough one, but what a phenomenal year. We had our backs against the wall mid-season, but we fought on. Big thanks to everyone that come out, not only this weekend, all year round. It's been an awesome championship, whole new scenario next year. So, finally, but not least, big thank you to everyone for Vodafone. It's end of an era. Congratulations, right on.
Jamie, you get here to the podium and enjoy all of this. Tell us about the pressure that's been on your shoulders this year, because every team, every driver has been gunning for you this year.
Hey, it's been, I don't want to disrespect my other championships, but this year's probably been the toughest by far. As I said, it's been a crazy scenario. We've had our backs against the wall mid-season, but everyone fought on, and everyone at Team Vodafone, you know what we did mid-season. We fought on, and we proved we were the #1 again. Well done.
Jamie, congratulations. We have a fairly large presentation for you. The Honourable George Souris MP, Minister for Tourism, Major Events and Hospitality, Racing Minister, the Minister for the Arts, presenting the trophy. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2012 V8 Supercars champion and Race 30 winners.
Well done, Barretts. This is the moment that Whincup in particular has been waiting for since Winton. He's very good at going into that focused zone when he needs to be, but he's not bad at celebrating either. And just watching him coming out onto the podium there and unbridled celebration just shows you how much this one means to Whincup. He's got his teammate up there with him, so that's 1-2 in the championship. He's got his good mate, Will Davison, up there for winning the final race of the season. And it's been an extraordinary day to finish. So let's take a look at the final points, how they finished up. Whincup leads and wins with 3,861 points, more points than he's ever put together in a season. Craig Lowndes finishes second officially, 65 points clear of Mark Winterbottom. Shane Van Gisbergen farewells this sport inside the top 10 in the championship, and so too does David Reynolds and James Courtney.